2016 Veterans Memorial Island Sanctuary Advisory Committee meeting. And I'd like to just wish everybody a Happy New Year and a wish for a prosperous, successful, joy-filled 2016. So, again, I just want to say for those that are here, welcome. Those who are watching on television, welcome. And I hope you had a good holiday season. And we're energized and ready to get on with the new year. So with that, John, could you lead the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yeah, please stand. Face the flag. I pledge allegiance to
the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Moving to the next point of business is the minutes for the December 2nd agenda. Those were disseminated for review. Are there any recommendations for changes? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move they be approved.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very good. And next, here we go. Audience participation. Again, welcome everybody to the Memorial Island Advisory Committee meeting. Is there any participation points of interest that would like to be raised? Hey, Charlie.
Good morning. Good morning. What a wonderful group this is. I hear some wonderful things about Joel here. We've gotten some good reports lately, particularly about what Joel has been doing for some of the veterans. Congratulations to you. Today I'm representing the Vero Beach Chamber of Commerce. I just wanted to mention that over the next couple of months and our next couple of agendas, we'd like to perhaps put on the agenda. We're starting our work on the Vero Beach Veterans Parade again. And last year was very successful, thanks to all of you, and people really loved it. They're still talking about it. We've got some great pictures from last year of people really feeling the pride in the United States and the pride we have in our veterans. So we're going to do that again this year. There's been a suggestion that we move it from the 4th of July into either Memorial Day or Veterans Day. And the reason is that the high school bands are not in session and they really want to participate. But around the 4th of July, they're out of school. And so a lot of the community has suggested that maybe they love the Veterans Parade, they want to have it, we want to have it. The Chamber of Commerce is going to work as hard as we possibly can to make it bigger and better. But we'd like to have some guidance because, of course, Memorial Day and Veterans Day both involve this board. And one of the suggestions has been we want to coordinate with you because we don't want to interfere in any event or anything that you have. But there is a suggestion that we might be able to finish the events at Memorial Island and go directly from there into a parade. People are already dressed. They've already got their people are already there. They can bring their families down to the street to watch the parade, and it would be less of a difficulty particularly on our veterans. But so we're trying to decide, and we'd like to have some guidance. We're going to the Veterans Committee meeting this afternoon to ask about the same thing. You folks have a full day of meetings today, and to try and coordinate with the veterans and with this council on how we're going to do that this coming year. And so I would appreciate any guidance that you have, and just perhaps over the next couple of months we'll start coming to these meetings on a regular basis so that we can do that kind of coordination. But we definitely want to continue it. We think it's an honor for our veterans, and it's an honor for us to do it. So we're just going to wait for the band, kind of get input from you and input from Mr. Salmons and input from the veterans this afternoon, if we can. But this is kind of a heads up that we're going to start working on this again. I hope we'll continue to have the support.
I think one of the things, Memorial Day is a solemn ceremony where we honor those that died in the service of our country, and Veterans Day is more of a celebration for those of us that made it. So I think between the two, a parade is more of a celebration type thing, where Memorial Day is a little more subdued and more solemn ceremony. So if everything else is equal and you have a choice, I would say Veterans Day or around Veterans Day would be better than around Memorial Day, in my opinion.
We're going to do whatever you tell us. We're here to y'all had to explain to me what the order was, that Army goes first, and so there's a lot of things that guidance that we take from you. So that's why I'm here to ask, is we'll take whatever guidance you give us.
It'd be a little bit cooler in November too,
and there won't be as many politicians in the parade.
And one thing also, Charlie, obviously I'll talk to you more about it, this afternoon. One of the problems leaving right after our service at Memorial Island is that a lot of these people like to go to Sebastian's.
Right.
And that's where some of the problem lies. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people from Sebastian that would like to also, there was a lot of people there last year. I remember being there in the back of your 5-ton there. So, so that might be one thing. But obviously I'll talk to you more about it this afternoon.
Well, I just wanted to let the committee know, starting in January, that we're restarting our efforts on this, and we want to coordinate with you. So whatever's best for you and best for the veterans is certainly best for us.
Joel?
No. What day is Veterans Day? What day of the week is Veterans Day this year?
Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday, and the Marine Corps birthday is the day before. Of course, the rule on that, if there's one or more Marines, then there's a party. So
I was going to say they'll still be hungover. Okay.
It's a Friday. Yeah, Veterans Day is Friday. Memorial Day is Tuesday.
That's right.
Friday. Okay. Well.
So school's in session either of those 2 days, and that's sort of that's kind of what we're trying to coordinate with, is because so many of the bands, including the fife and drum corps and things like that, really want to participate, but it's so much easier if they're in school.
And the good thing is you're trying to forecast in advance, which is important. From our venue here, naturally, the priority is to make sure that Memorial Island the activities there reflect only the honor and respect that we want for that location. So we can provide that to you. We typically, as we look for ceremonies, look to the Veterans Council as well to get their input and get their feed. So this is an important part, but we'll look at the input that comes from the Veterans Council as well as from the city and the just the experience. But I believe you're sensitive to the dynamics that are there on Memorial Island, and that's what our perspective will be, that we make sure that we honor that and don't reduce that in any way.
I'm just talking because you're standing there, brought it up. It's really the Veterans Council, and of course Colonel Young is the president of the Veterans Council. Our job is to preserve and protect Memorial Island, not really what happens with parades. But my gut reaction, if the Marine Corps birthday is Thursday, Veterans Day is Friday, Saturday would be a good day to make it kind of a Veterans weekend almost. But I don't know what else is going on that Saturday.
Well, nothing tugs at your heart more than seeing that flag standing alone off on on that island. So we're here to do that, and that's why I'm here at this meeting, to make sure that we follow those feelings. Okay.
Very good. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie.
Any other input from the audience for the committee to consider? All right. Very good. Thank you. New business. Joseph Kenneth Bartley Memorial. Rob, you want to kind of bring us up to speed on the application there, please?
Good morning, Rob Slezak, Recreation Director. Yes, we had this application come in, and I have taken it to the different folks to evaluate and make sure everything complies and everything does. So I'm just bringing this forward for y'all to approve.
And that, again,
this is a very small,
this is Friday,
simple 20-minute memorial. Very
Friday
simple
at
one.
8. Is it 9 o'clock? When are they?
8:30 to 9:30.
No, 8:30. Okay. All right. Any questions from the committee in regards to the memorial? As an aside, the Veterans Council will be contributing a wreath that service, and we have believe disseminated some information in regards to that. So there may actually be a American Legion or an Honor Guard that will support that, but it is a very small family event, and my understanding is it will have 20 people maybe there. But this man was a veteran of the Navy and Air Force, and this was a desire of his family. And I would just use this as a way to offer to the community that if we have loved ones that have served in the military and you want to have a memorial service on Memorial Island for them, then contact the Recreation Department, and Rob's staff will coordinate for the rest of us for that process. But the island is there for your support, and we're glad to help in that manner. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move the application be approved since it's in order.
All right. A second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Okay. The Silver Star Award ceremony, Captain Dempsey.
Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here. Any questions I can answer about the Silver Star awarding ceremony? The Veterans Council is extremely honored to be a part of this. Sergeant, actually corporal at the time of the award, Sylvester B. McIntosh. It's a long time coming for him to receive that award, so we're all very excited about that, and I hope this committee is too. What kind of questions can I answer about the ceremony itself?
Questions from the group?
Okay. You got it, Rob. Thanks.
Since we're televised, maybe even if we know about it, we should say the time and.
Okay, so let me go over the basics. Sorry, this is my first time here with the committee. So it's going on January 30th at 1300. That's 1 p.m. at Veterans Memorial Island Sanctuary. The support from the Veterans Council is going to be very similar to Veterans Day and Memorial Day. So we will have our delegate members out there. We'll have water for all of the attendees, as well as golf carts to take the handicapped people to and from the seats. We have requested the stage from the city of Vero Beach, as well as the audio support as well, and we are currently developing the program for that event. I just have to get a chance to get down to my computer and type it out. But let's see. Can I tell you, would it be appropriate for me to talk a little bit about Sylvester McIntosh and his award? Okay. So the basics of what that Marine did in combat and what he's being awarded for. He was submitted by his CO for the Navy Cross, got downgraded by the Department of the Navy to Silver Star, but it's an incredibly deserving award. So his platoon was actually hit by enemy fire from a well-entrenched unit and lost both platoon commander and platoon sergeant in that engagement. So what Corporal McIntosh did was he actually took charge of his platoon, got them out of that position and into a position that they could return fire upon that enemy, suppressive fire. Corporal McIntosh, after getting his unit into a position to do that, then himself rushed back into the ambush kill zone, pulled out one of his Marine buddies, took an AK round through the chest, and continued back, dropped him off with his unit, went back in 2 more times before passing out. Amazing. So obviously after hearing about Corporal McIntosh's efforts, Victor Diaz, who's well known in this community as someone who supports veterans and advocating for their rights, immediately set into work to make sure that he was recognized. So that's exactly what we're doing with this ceremony. We're giving him the recognition that is long delayed.
Some of the people in the community that aren't familiar with veterans or their awards, I think this would make Sylvester McIntosh one of the highest decorated veterans in our county, or amongst them. I don't know. I don't think we have any Medal of Honor winners or Navy Cross winners that I'm aware of. Am I off there? Sorry. So this would be. This is a big deal, really. I mean, it's a great to be awarded the Silver Star for valor and heroism. And again, it makes him one of the highest decorated veterans in the county, unless there are Navy Cross. Do you know of any Navy Cross or Medal of Honor types?
Not in terms of county residents that I know of, but I think this is the only time one has actually been awarded here in the county.
That's kind of late. This unusual that it's this late after the
right
too.
And not posthumously, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Some of the details, Doy, I think that would be helpful. If you can touch base on is the program itself. I would anticipate there would be honors to the nation as well as an award by a military official who's. And my understanding is this will be a Marine-centric formation with Lieutenant Colonel Rip Wheeler as a master of ceremonies. Can you say who's intended to be the officer or the man that will bestow the award on Sylvester McIntosh?
Yes, sir. So the man who submitted him for the award will be in attendance and will be presenting him with that award is Lieutenant Colonel Al Slater, okay. 1st Battalion, 9th Marines, and as well as his staff NCOIC, staff non-commissioned officer in charge, Master Sergeant Dennis Lee. Both of them served above Sergeant McIntosh during the time of his engagement there, and. It is Marine-centric. I have requested an active duty Marine Corps color guard from Headquarters Marine Corps Public Affairs, we are getting both of the Marine Corps League up at Barefoot Bay and the Vero Beach Marine Corps League are going to be heavily involved. I think this is probably going to be the largest gathering of Marines in dress blues, at least that has happened in my couple of years that I've been here.
What can we expect as far as VIPs, friends, family? What do you see arriving?
So we have so far we have seven Marines from his unit attending, and that's including Master Sergeant Lee and Lieutenant Colonel Slater. In terms of VIPs, Colonel Martin Zickert is actually inviting every. City and council members, and actually everyone, governor on down, is being invited to this event by Colonel Zickert. In terms of RSVPs for those, I could not speak to at this point.
Okay. All right.
Actually, if I may, another thing. You had mentioned he was shot through the chest with an AK-47. So in addition to the Silver Star, he has the Purple Heart. I've known Sylvester for many years. The Combat Action Ribbon, which you only get if you are, receive enemy fire in that situation. The Presidential Unit Citation that's given from the President for heroism, and basically is almost it's like a Bronze Star for the unit. Practically, yeah. I think you could think of the Presidential Unit Citation that way. The Navy Meritorious Unit Citation, the Meritorious Unit Citation. Vietnamese campaign ribbon, probably with a couple of stars, Vietnamese Cross of Gallantry, Vietnamese Service Medal, and probably another couple or two. So this is a...
Thank you very much for bringing that up, Mr. Matthews. And the Marines that will be on stage with him are highly decorated as well. Actually, Master Sergeant Dennis Lee is a Bronze Star awardee, and Lieutenant Colonel Slater is a Navy Cross awardee. So they'll be pretty well represented in terms of Marine Corps combat units. These are the kind of Marines that inspired me to join the Marine Corps.
Mm-hmm. And regarding music, that'll be a part of the program?
Yes, we have St. Peter's Academy, as well as we'll have a national anthem singer being provided by the Gifford American Legion Post 181.
Okay. Bagpiper?
Not at the ceremony, sir.
Okay. All right. As far as coordination with the city, Rob, anything that we need to make sure that is crosswalked?
We've got EMT standby. Stage and audio we're good with. Golf carts, no problem. Water, we'll have Bob in touch with Doy regarding putting them in coolers and everything else. Participation level, what did we think we were going to have? Number of people total? What was your estimate?
So the initial estimate we made was similar to Veterans Day and Memorial Day, which was approximately 2,000. That may be high since this is not a normal event. Vic is now expecting more along the lines of 500 or so.
Okay. I will talk to the police department too and see if we can have somebody out for that as well. And I think we're fairly good here. The flags, I'll make sure they talk to them about the flags on the bridge on Memorial Island.
One other question would be handicap parking. I know for veterans and Memorial Day, we typically designate those first couple of stall or the first couple of parking areas.
We would like to do that again,
Okay.
if possible. Thank you.
The other thing that comes to mind is as far as media coverage, what's anticipated for that?
So we have sent out a press release and given a specific heads up to some of our friends in the local media. I expect a good turnout from media. One of the things that we're doing that we do not do for Veterans Day or Memorial Day is we're also contacting some of the networks in West Palm Beach. So we may have a regional response from the media as well.
Okay, all right. I was being very specific on nuts and bolts, but from a strategic point of view, Memorial Island is a place to honor those who have sacrificed for our country. It is an honor to be able to recognize somebody that's made a sacrifice that's still here and able to speak about it. I think we've talked about the nature of the award, and the award is very significant. It's consistent with my understanding of what we're all about. Anything else from the committee? Lines?
No, sir.
Is there a motion that the application?
Certainly, I make a motion that we accept the application.
Is there a second?
I second it.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thanks.
I hope there's going to be some help as far as the parking is concerned, as far as the golf carts and things like that.
Right. It'll be the same thing that we do for Veterans Day and Memorial Day in
That's
terms
fine.
of. Okay.
That's
perfect.
fine.
Thank you, Mrs. Lund.
That's what I was counting on.
There we go. Okay. All right. Moving on. Let's move to the next new business item, which is the military march. And so I'd ask our friends from CrossFit to come forward, and Captain Densick, Doy, if you'd back them up. So if there's any
He can be our adult supervision.
so if there's any assistance, he's available for it. So y'all need to, that's Southern for, please introduce yourself and kind of explain what the intent is for what you want to do.
Well, my name is Jim Moran, Vero Beach native. I've lived here my whole life.
And your friend is?
This is
Bruce Cady.
Katie. He's a member of our gym, and Bruce is a Marine veteran. I'm not. My father was a Marine, and my grandfather. But I think that's kind of what started this whole thing off, was with me and Bruce were discussing Marine different issues, and I said that I hadn't served, and it got me into talking to him about that's something that's always bothered me. And my way of giving back is to give back to those that have given. So we started talking more about an event that we could do to help the Veterans Council, and that led us to, he introduced me to Doy, and I don't know what the Veterans Council at the time did. I had heard the name, but he downloaded all this information about what is actually, how much they help the veterans, and I was like, this we got to do this. I want to do some sort of event that, if it's going to help somebody, I want it to help our local veterans, that we can actually see that it's doing some good. Not that other organizations aren't, but this is, I'd like to keep it local. And we discussed more and more about why would a gym want to do anything? How would I incorporate that? So we started talking about the correlations between military and the gym, and CrossFit. If you've seen it on TV or on the internet, if you looked at it, it really, I would say, looks a lot like maybe basic training or something. And we, that
brings back smiles.
Not knowing what basic training is all about, I say that. But we attract a lot of ex-military people in there because they enjoy that style of working out. And CrossFit as a whole, the whole community around the world, all the gyms, we're very tight into working with organizations that are heavily military influenced. That's a big thing with us. So that's where this whole march kind of started kicking off. We were like, well, we could do, we thought about a 5K, and we were like, everybody does that. We've got to do something a little different. Everybody's liking doing these adventure races, and what can we kind of drum up the most interest in? And Bruce suggested, let's do like a march, like they do in the military, and we can incorporate different exercises and events along the way, and we can have it kind of ran by ex-military. Doy included, and a few others that are going to kind of, I'm going to let Bruce kind of get in the nuts and bolts of exactly what it's all about, but that was kind of the framework that, got us thinking, man, this could be something really cool that we could do, and then, help the Veterans Council, and, learning from this event, there's no telling what we could do with it after this, this time it's the Veterans Council. Maybe we could do another one for the
law enforcement, first responders.
First responders. It's endless. Okay. So, having said that, Bruce will give you the real nuts and bolts of it.
Okay.
Well, so to endeavor to share with Jimmy and my fellow gym members and members of the community, we have endeavored to put together what we're calling as Hump for Our Vets. Mm-hmm. So in the Marine Corps, a weighted march, a forced march under weight, it's called a hump. In the Army, it's called a ruck. So we're going to hump because the majority of the cadre and leadership are former Marines. And what we're going to do is we're going to gather on February 13th, Saturday, February 13th at 0900 hours at Orchid Island CrossFit. Orchid Island CrossFit Gym is located on Aviation Boulevard, adjacent to the Vero Beach Airport, a very central location to our community. We're going to gather together. A rough order of magnitude, I believe we'll have 20 to 25 participants, maybe a bit more than that, but we're planning for 20 to 25. We're going to gather underweight. Male participants will be carrying a minimum of 25 pounds in their pack. Female participants, a minimum of 15 pounds. We'll also have some other things for our participants to carry to simulate a combat load and carrying combat loads across distance. We will then go follow a route via surface streets and sidewalks through Vero Beach, across the Barber Bridge. We will end up at our midway point is at Riverside Park at the entrance to the Veterans Island, and that's why we're here to speak with you. What our plan is, if we receive permission, is to suspend our activities for a moment at that midway point, drop our gear, drop our equipment there in Riverside Park, proceed on to Veterans Island, and give our participants an opportunity to learn from the veterans that are part of that particular exercise, as well as to have Doy give us an overview of the Veterans Council and the good work that the Veterans Council does for Indian River County veterans. We anticipate that 15, 20 minutes worth of time together on the island. We would then leave the island, ruck back up, gear up, and commence back to Orchid Island CrossFit with some adventures and challenges along the way, returning to the gym and concluding with a gathering of veterans. We are going to invite the greater veteran population within the county to enjoy a barbecue with us at the gym at the culmination of the event. And for the privilege of participating in the event, we're asking that all the participants provide a donation to the Veterans Council Council of Indian River County. So this is a fundraising event for the veterans in our community. As an overview, I think I covered all the nuts and the bolts. I do want to thank Jimmy Moran and his partner Brian Seacrest, the owners of Orchid Island CrossFit, for neither one of them are veterans, but they're giving veterans an opportunity to stay healthy, and they're also putting their time, effort, and resources behind an event that will benefit all of us in the county. So I do thank them for their participation in this. Can we answer any questions?
Questions?
Where will you stack arms, so to speak? You're going to stop at the bridge. Where will you put that gear? Have you picked a spot for the?
Just in that there's only 20 of us. So that grass area near where the parking is. Those first as you approach Veterans Island, there's this first
yes,
park.
Sir, I know what you mean. Right there. Yeah.
Right. So that grass area there. It'll be things that I don't think people would want to mess with. They'll be heavy. So if anyone tries to run off with them, they won't go very quickly, I imagine.
Well, I think it's an opportunity to educate the group and get the word out in regards to Memorial Island, because if you can gather 20 young people and assemble at the base of the national colors and share the sacrifice of service with each other, that's what the island honors about. And our concern, just as I've shared with Mr. Wilson, is that anytime folks take advantage of the island, that's what the focus is. It's not to do anything other than that. And in fact, the island is set aside from being an exercise area. It's specifically to give a place for people to consider and contemplate the sacrifices of others. So from looking at what you said, if you would make sure that your pre-mission planning at Orchid Island highlights that to all of the participants, so that they know that the manual labor will be getting there, the cranial labor and all will be upon the island. I think that would be appropriate, and the idea of taking the proceeds in the form of a donation, I think, is on target as well, because that's another prohibition for the island, is not to be used as a means of generating revenue. Other questions?
No, I'm sure that you're going to be in good hands. You got Captain Demsick over there. He knows the rules and regulations over there. So if there's anybody that does step out of line, which I'm sure there won't be, he'll be there to take care of you and check you.
Will you guys have a flyer made up?
Yes, sir. We do have a flyer made up. Yes, sir.
Can you get that to Doy, or does?
I have the flyer, Joel. I can put that at your office.
Okay, yeah. Or just email me one so I can get it out to my other office as well as other veterans in the county.
You got it.
Yeah, because also it's not just specific to our gym members. I mean, this is open to if anyone.
Right.
We welcome to people to participate. It just happens that it's starting at the gym, but it's not specific just to gym members, so everyone's welcome.
We have been reaching out to younger veterans, so this could be something that might bring them out and bring them together.
Yeah.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking for this to be that. This is just the beginning. We've got so many different ideas how we want to. In the future, include the Veterans Council, and we've got a lot of members that are just really excited and can't wait to see what's coming up next. So, I mean, who knows what we can come up with in the future? So we're all pretty excited about it, for sure.
Brian, I'm curious. You said young people. What age do you consider young people?
Very, very good question, ma'am. We have a loose restriction that we would like participants to be 16 years of age or older, and that's for a physical capability.
Right.
And this is not a children's event for the conduct of the exercise. So we determined that 16 years is basically the minimum CrossFit age, where the young people have developed to the point where they can carry weight or do the exercises without sustaining injury.
Okay, I know under Doy's leadership that the decorum of the island will be kept intact. I just want you to be sure that you recognize that going on to the island as a part of this march is an entirely different situation than what they've just been through and what they're going to finish up with. So it's these are things that I think are terribly important to those of us who have tremendous respect for that island and what it represents. So it should be a learning lesson for a lot of people. So I appreciate what you're doing, but I just want you to be very careful of their actions while they're on the island.
Ma'am, you have my word as a Marine Corps officer that we will honor all that have served before us. And we will also, our endeavor is to create the sense of pride that brought myself, Marines like Doy, and those of you on the Council that are veterans, to want to carry forward the service for our country. So, ma'am, you do have my word. I take it very seriously what the island represents. We as an organization take the sacrifices that all veterans have made, both the living and dead. So you have my word, ma'am.
Thank you.
This is a great opportunity for you to pass that on to other veterans, too. It's not a park, it's a sanctuary. And
that's right.
The same dignity and decorum you would have at Arlington or other places. And I know you will carry that on.
That's the best comparison that anybody could make is Memorial Island to Vero Beach is what Arlington is to the nation. So, the old guard wouldn't do a forced march through Arlington, but they would post their gear and then go into the cemetery to render honors and then ruck up or whatever the Marine equivalent would be to continue the march. But one other coordination matter, is there anything in regards to the city coordination that you're aware of in regards to the march that needs to take place?
Yes, they will fill out a streets and right-of-ways paperwork for that, and also the Memorial Island Park paperwork that you all have right in front of you.
And as far as
we'll
EMS?
have all that signed off and everything else.
EMS?
Yeah, it'll be something for them to work out with EMS.
Especially that time of day.
Along that. Mm-hmm.
For the ceremonies, typically we alert the EMS because of the potential of heat injuries or whatever.
Right. So, okay. We'll have them get in touch. Yeah. That'll be some of the things that we talk about, but this had to be the first step.
Yep, no, without a doubt. Okay.
So,
okay. Other questions, John?
No, I guess you'll have crossing guards and all of the things to get across and such. So,
yes, sir.
No, it sounds like a great thing and good way to expose the island to veterans and the others in the community.
Yeah, I wish I was 20 years younger.
Yeah, we were younger again.
And if we can get the information, specific, the flyer, the route of march, and all that would be interesting as well. Good.
Very good.
Okay.
The Veterans Council meeting is at 1:30 today. I don't know if you got a pretty ambitious agenda, but to tell the Veterans Council has the delegates from each of the veterans organizations that's supposed to go back. So I guess you'll.
Agenda, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pardon me for not knowing that.
Can I get a motion?
I make a motion to accept.
Okay. Second. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And please don't misconstrue our attention to detail as negative. It's okay. Good. Okay.
Good job.
And you're welcome to stay and listen to the accounts of 5 of the men on the island if you'd like. Okay. Old business, I see none there. I think we were very productive. And moving to
Mr. Chairman, under old business, I can't let it go by. It's not often that we have an agenda that does not have the name of Don Dexter on it. which means Happy New Year, Mr. Dexter. And we appreciate all the things that you did to get the island finished with the repairs and restoration and so forth and so on. So,
I was going to say, you sure you don't want him to come up and introduce himself? It's been so long since he's been up at that podium.
Yeah,
could be.
Mr. Dexter, come up to the podium and take your bow for your
Thank you for coming.
without a doubt. So,
Okay.
if we could, let's move to Chairman's Matters, and with that, I'd like to highlight the veterans that were mentioned in December, and beginning with Charles Tyson. And John, I think you have him.
Yes, sir. Private First Class Charles Floyd Tyson III, United States Marine Corps, killed in action June 21st, 1969. Private First Class Charles Floyd Tyson III was a young casualty of the Vietnam War at the age of 19. He served less than a year. Charles was born on March 29, 1950. His family had been in Florida since almost statehood. His grandfather, Charles, was born in 1884 in Florida. His dad was Florida-born in 1912. The family resided in Martin County in the 30s and St. Lucie County in the mid-40s, and then Indian River County. Charles enlisted in the Marine Corps in 1968. Fellsmere was his hometown. Private First Class Tyson's tour began St. Patrick's Day, March 17, 1969. He was a rifle company in M Company, 3rd Battalion, 5th Marine Regiment, 1st Marine Division. Less than 3 months later, on June 21, 1969, he was killed in the Quang Nam province during ground combat. On that day, three other 3-5 Marines fell. 2 men were 20 years old, and the other only 18. All were private first class. Charles was still single. He is honored on the Vietnam Memorial Wall on panel 22 West, line 110. His cenotaph is located in column A, row 10. He was highlighted on December 1st. By the way, Charles served in the same province that I did, Quang Nam province in Vietnam.
Yeah. First Lieutenant Mark Jackson, U.S. Army, killed in action October 28, 1969. First Lieutenant Mark Jackson was born June 14, 1948, in Brooksville, Florida. He was the son of William Jackson. Mark grew up in Vero Beach, graduated from Vero Beach High School, and attended the University of Florida. He entered the Army on April 2, 1967, at Fort Benning, Georgia. Mark completed Officer Candidate School and was commissioned on May 2, 1968. Following in his grandfather's footsteps, he earned his wings. William Jackson was a U.S. Navy aviator in World War I. Mark deported to D Troop 3rd Squadron, 4th Cavalry, 25th Infantry Division in July of 1969 as a first lieutenant. On October 28, 1969, while flying an OH-6 helicopter on a reconnaissance mission in the Tainan province, his aircraft was shot down. Mark was struck by anti-aircraft fire and killed instantly. His 2 crew members survived. Mark's commander wrote that he was an exemplary officer, earning the respect of all. Posthumously, Mark was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross for his heroism in flight. The citation notes that his bravery contributed immeasurably to the success against the enemy in combat. In addition, his awards included the Bronze Star and the Air Medal with numeral device 13. In the span of less than 3 months, Lieutenant Jackson flew over 25 missions in the support of counterinsurgency operations. Mark is buried in Crestlawn Cemetery in Vero Beach. He was a casualty at the age of 21. His name is inscribed on panel 17 West, line 128 of the Vietnam Memorial Wall. His cenotaph is located in column G, row 9. The Arrowhead Vero Beach High School yearbook gives Mark's school nickname as Face because he was such a handsome young man. He was highlighted in the local news magazine on December the 8th.
Private First Class Larry Dwayne Ehrenholt, U.S. Army, non-battle death, March 3, 1970. Private First Class Larry Dwayne Ehrenholt was born October 16, 1951. Vero Beach was his home. Larry entered the Army in 1969 and began his tour in Vietnam on January 10, 1970. On March 3, 1970, less than 2 months later, he was a casualty taking his own life. Mark was part of Delta Company, 588 Engineer Battalion, 79th Engineer Group, 20th Engineer Brigade. His military skill was as a combat engineer. He served in the Tay Ninh province. Larry is buried in the Hillcrest Memorial Garden south of Vero Beach in St. Lucie County. His loss is honored on the Vietnam Memorial Wall on panel 13 West, line 77. His awards include the National Defense Service Medal, the Vietnam Service Medal, and the Vietnam Campaign Ribbon. He had not yet reached his 19th birthday when was single. His cenotaph is found in column A, row 8. He was highlighted on the local news magazine on December 15th.
Staff Sergeant William Eugene Roller, U.S. Army, killed in action September 7, 1970. Staff Sergeant William Eugene Roller was born September 3, 1941. Sebastian was his home of record. He attended Vero Beach High School, played football, and was a great lineman. The accounts captured on the wall website speak of him as a native Indian River County that was well respected, and they reflect a warrior that was highly regarded leader by his unit. A fellow team member states, "When news came that he had been killed, there were tears in the eyes of all K-75 Rangers. He told his men he would bring them back alive, and he died not getting his team back alive." William was a regular Army senior non-commissioned officer, NCO, and a Ranger. Staff Sergeant Roller was assigned to K Company, 75th Rangers, 4th Infantry Division. His military specialty was an infantry operations and intelligence specialist. His combat tour began November 4th, 1969, and ended with his death in combat on September 7th, 1970. He never married and gave his life at 29 years of age. Staff Sergeant Roller was a casualty of direct enemy fire in the Binh Dinh province and died outright. His awards and military badges include the Purple Heart, the Combat Infantry Badge, and Airborne Wings. He is buried in Camp Butler National Cemetery in Springfield, Illinois. He is honored on the Vietnam Veteran Memorial Wall, panel 7 West, line 45. His cenotaph is located in column G, row 5. He was highlighted on local news magazine on December 22nd.
Captain William Marshall Clark, United States Army, killed in action February 23, 1972. Captain William Marshall Clark was born October 25, 1943. He was the son of a career Army officer that had served over 30 years. He was following in his father's footsteps. William's home of record was Vero Beach. Captain Clark commanded G Troop 2nd Squadron, 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment. His tour in Vietnam began July 8, 1971, and ended with his death of wounds on February 23, 1972. He was a casualty of ground fire in Bien Hoa, South Vietnam. Captain Clark was recognized for his valor with the Bronze Star with the V device. He was also an airborne qualified regular Army officer. He was killed at the age of 28. His name is enshrined on the Vietnam Memorial Wall panel 2 West, line 109. His cenotaph is located in column E, row 6. He was highlighted in the local news magazine on December 29th.
Okay. Just a couple points I wanted to bring out. In the accounts, when it speaks of being a regular Army officer, in the 70s time frame in the Army, the officers had an option either to remain a reserve officer on active duty or be what's considered a regular officer. And a regular officer was one that was obligated for typically longer service. So that was the distinction there.
That threw me for a loop. I didn't. That's why I'm reading it. And I'm like, oh, maybe it was a misprint.
So
That's
that was the differentiation there. Typically, if you were a West Pointer or a ROTC Distinguished Military Graduate, as a recognition, you were offered to be a regular Army officer. Not everybody was offered that mark. The other thing I wanted to bring out, over Christmas, I had the opportunity to visit the 9/11 Memorial in New York City. And when you visit 9/11, the Ground Zero, and I had the chance to visit there in support during 9/11 as a officer, and then coming back, you get to see what I don't know if it's the largest city or one of the largest cities in the world does to commemorate the sacrifice of those that were victims on that day. And you walk into the museum, and they have a circular room, and in the circular room, they have on audio the accounts of the people that were killed that day, and it ranges from the firefighters to the office workers. And one of the accounts, they have about 4 or 5, and then there's a pause, and then another 4 or 5. They'll display the words and the pictures. And I thought to myself, what they have done at the 9/11 Memorial is what we're doing in preserving the history of these men on Memorial Island. And it doesn't matter whether you're a private first class that served 3 months, or whether you're a senior NCO that spent 8 years in the Army, or whether you received the Distinguished Flying Cross, or you just received the Korean Service Medal. The point was, when you were called to stand for the others, you did so. And I just want to tell everybody on the committee here, and Barb, I know you're not here, but I want to say also, and to the city and Rita, without what you do, this would not be possible. And without the dedication of the city to make Memorial Island as wonderful as it would, we would not have our 9/11 memorial to those that have sacrificed. And so, if you want motivation for what we do in the coming year, just think about these men and look at what we have. It's something to be extremely proud of. And Amelie, I know your generation began it, and hopefully we can continue that as we should. So thanks.
Thank you. No question in my mind, but you will.
So, anything from the committee? Oh, John, you had one thing to mention.
Yes, sir, and I'm sorry I didn't give it to have it on the agenda, but I just heard about it yesterday. Although, actually, when we had the Veterans Parade, a gentleman came up who introduced himself as a Marine. All the Marines were there ready to go, and we had the little trailer there. And, of course, I guess the Marines can spot somebody in dress blues a mile away. And this gentleman that came up to see me was, or to see us, Mark Zook. And I said, "Oh, you're a Marine? I will certainly join in with us." And he said, "My wife's here too." And they didn't say anything for a little while. And then a little later on, as we rounded the current turn down at Flamevide, he just mentioned casually that his son was killed in Afghanistan. And, of course, that's kind of stopped us in our tracks. And, we gave him a hug and so forth. But as it come to find out, Mark Zook, the father, came to, I saw him around Christmas time. He's a highway patrol trooper, I guess is the term. And his son, Ian Zook, was killed in Afghanistan, and we talked a little bit about that and how sad we were, and we really got to know him. Just a marvelous person, the father, and apparently the son also, who was planned to follow in his father's footsteps. So, being a Gold Star family, he started talking more about what they're doing, and he lives in Port St. Lucie. And what I wanted to mention to the community that's listening, and to our group, and if I may later on at the Veterans Council, they're creating this Gold Star Family's Memorial Monument. And of course, right away, I thought of Memorial Island and kind of like we already honor our veterans and so forth. But the plan for this is to be a regional one, and I think there's one in Tampa, and then the only other one that would be along the Treasure Coast is this one coming up. And kind of like our POWMIA monument, I don't think there are any close by, so ours is sort of a regional monument as well. And they already have the pad and the sidewalk and the labor and the shrubs and mulch and so forth paid for. They're working on, and I passed out a flyer, an example of the type of monument they're getting. And I told them that there may be some people that might want to help contribute money, but certainly we would want to know about it, to spread the word, because Michelle Dale, and I forgot the name of the other Gold Star families in the area, and as he had mentioned, some don't want to be contacted or whatever, but those that do, and even those that aren't Gold Star families would want to be there to help with the dedication and to hear more about it. So I think the plan now is the groundbreaking for it is February 8th, and this is Port St. Lucie Veterans Memorial Park. That's at US 1, and I guess the road is Veterans Park Road. The target date to actually have it created and dedicated is September 25th, which is Gold Star Family Day, if I'm not mistaken. And it's the last last Sunday of the month, I think. But it's September 25th. So I think it's something that, since this is a regional effort, and of course, all of us do want to honor the memory of those that have fallen, and to help comfort the mothers and fathers and Gold Star families. So, if I wanted to pass this on to our committee, as well as, if I may mention it later on at our Veterans Council meeting. So,
okay.
Thank you.
Joel?
No, I don't have anything.
Ma'am? Curtis?
One thing real quickly, for the veterans that are maybe hopefully watching, there's been some changes made to the transportation program. So please, if you need to get on Veterans Council of Indian River County, they're not drastic changes, but they're changes that we need to be respectful to other veterans. So please go on there, or if you have any problems, go ahead and call the transportation office at Joel's office. Thank you.
Okay. The next meeting is February 3rd, 2016, this time and this location. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Very good. Thank you.